Hi friend. Thank you for returning to my channel. God bless you. To receive news updates, please click the bell symbol and subscribe to the channel. Finally, Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco's wedding is scheduled to be formally announced. Tiffany Franco is pregnant with Tim Malcolm's DNA. The 15th of April 2026. This is more than simply gossip. Whispers on set, insider information that was leaked, and the kind of chemistry that even the cameras couldn't properly capture are all used to tell this story. You'll feel as though you were there with them during every passionate moment and snatched glimpse by the end of this film. If you are excited, click the like button. If you're new here, please subscribe. Shall we go back a little? On paper, the pairing of Tim Mal and Tiffany Franco seemed unlikely. Tim, the methodical, reticent guns magnate with a penchant for elegant fashion. Tiffany was a lively, talkative single mother from Maryland, whose emotional openness frequently ran counter to Tim's more reserved demeanor. The other way, the first episode of 90 Day Fiancé was an emotional roller coaster. Tim struggled to fully commit, as we witnessed. Tim's alleged lack of enthusiasm and the lingering memory of his previous relationship with Veronica Rodriguez, who remained a close co-parent and friend. Distance, cultural disparities, and their radically different outlooks on life and romance all affected their love tale. There were times when they truly clicked and had a lot of chemistry, especially with their lovely kids, Daniel and Carrie. However, there were also terrible realizations that maybe they were simply not on the same page, devastating arguments, and tearful confessions. We observed their attempts to work things out when Tiffany and Tim relocated to Colombia. They handled the difficulties that come with merging families. However, in the end, it appeared that their basic differences and the pressure cooker of reality TV led them in different directions. Fans were left wondering if this was really the end each time they broke up, regrouped, then broke up again. Tiffany apparently found love with someone else and moved on. And Tim carried on with his lucrative business endeavors, frequently showing up with Veronica, which led to several reports that they might be rescinding. For the longest period of time, the book appeared to have closed on Tiffany and Tim. Naturally, their bond as co-parents of Daniel would last a lifetime, but up until now, most fans had classified them as romantically involved. Because based on what I'm going to disclose, it appears like Tim and Tiffany's romance was never really put out. It was simply latent, awaiting the ideal opportunity to rekindle. Our narrative starts a few months ago in a city that is renowned for its lively energy and secrecy. Miami. It was late October of last year. Tiffany and Tim were in Miami separately, claiming to be on buddy vacations and work trips. Tiffany was enjoying the nightlife by sharing glitzy photos beside the pool. Tim was providing reports from a number of industry gatherings. There seemed to be nothing unusual. This is where things start to get interesting, though. An unnamed individual who was very close to Tim and Tiffany came out with information that was entirely at odds with their public statements. For evident reasons, this person, who wished to remain anonymous, described secret encounters, hushed phone conversations, and an unmistakable attraction that persisted between the two. Our insider claims that Tim and Tiffany had communicated more often than anyone realized, discussing their lives, sentiments, and the unanswered questions. Not just Daniel. The excursions to Miami weren't totally distinct. According to our insider, even though they kept separate public schedules, their paths came together on a certain evening in late October. Imagine a modest, upscale boutique hotel in South Beach that isn't part of the big chains. As is customary for public persons who want privacy, Tim had reserved a room under a false identity. Tiffany excused herself early from a public meal with friends, claiming to have a headache, but she chose to go somewhere else rather than back to her hotel. Tim arranged for a private vehicle to pick her up and drive her straight to his hotel. This wasn't a impromptu hookup, people. This was prearranged. This event was the result of weeks of intense secret communication. Both of them were aware of the dangers, possible criticism, and scrutiny that would arise if this were ever made public. However, our insider claims that the need to have a real conversation and face their unresolved emotions away from cameras and criticism from the public was too great to ignore. According to reports, the room itself served as a haven, free from the scrutiny of fans and social media. It was an open and honest night. They spent hours discussing past hurts, owning up to their faults, and, for the first time in a long time, actually listening to one another. According to reports, Tiffany shared her most intense annoyances, her sense of emotional neglect, her need for a companion who would be as intense as she was, and Tim. According to our source, in a rare display of vulnerability, Tim acknowledged his own issues, including his fear of commitment, the ways in which his previous anxieties have affected his present, and his sincere sorrow for the way he had handled specific situations with Tiffany. He admitted that he had never really moved on, and that he had a particular place in his heart reserved for Tiffany and her kids that no one else had been able to fill. The evening was filled with laughter, tears, and emotional outbursts. The old spark and the indisputable chemistry that had first drew them together started to rekindle as the hours went by. Our source refused to back down. This was more than a simple reconciliation. They were experiencing a deep closeness unlike anything they had since the start of their connection. It became indisputable that they were comfortable, familiar, and deeply affectionate. The plot then takes a turn that will leave you completely stunned. Physical intimacy inevitably followed hours of intensive talk during which they shared their souls with one another. With a knowing wink, our insider said simply, "Nature took its course." Two people had a long history, a sincere bond, and were at last free to be themselves without any outside influences. Pressures. Then, the secret room date took place, a night of open communication, emotional renewal, and unquestionable intimacy. They left each other the following morning, going back to their separate public lives, or so they believed. In the weeks and months that followed, astute fans noticed subtle changes. Tiffany appeared different, with a certain softness around her. Her social media posts, though still lively, occasionally alluded to a newfound calm, and she would occasionally post cryptic messages. Naturally, these could have been written off as random events or simply the natural ebb and flow of life. But after about 2 months of that fateful night in Miami, Tiffany started to make subtle changes to her wardrobe, including baggy sweaters, strategically placed scarves, and tops that were slightly looser than her usual ones. Tim also appeared more at ease and less guarded, smiling more in pictures and displaying a lightness in his demeanor that hadn't been there before. Our source was the first to notice the subtle clues, the slight aversion to alcohol at social events, the occasional morning sickness that Tiffany would brush off as stress or bad food, and finally the ultimate confirmation. A hushed phone call between Tiffany and a close friend that our source overheard, with the words, "positive test," and "Tim," clearly audible. The secret room date had had a profoundly life-altering consequence. Tiffany Franco was pregnant, and the father was none other than Tim Malcolm. The initial period was described by our source as a whirlwind of panic, excitement, and a deep, undeniable sense of destiny. Tim was reportedly stunned upon hearing the news and had to sit down. However, after the initial shock subsided, a profound sense of responsibility and joy began to settle in. Imagine the shock, the disbelief, the multitude of emotions that must have run through both Tim and Tiffany. A secret rendezvous fueled by unresolved feelings had resulted in a miracle. This wasn't just about a pregnancy, it was about a new chapter, a final, undeniable entwining of their lives. Despite her initial feelings of overwhelm, Tiffany reportedly found a deep sense of peace. This pregnancy, born out of a secret, passionate reconnection, was exactly what she had secretly longed for. Our source claims that Tim immediately committed to being there fully and completely for Tiffany and the baby. This pregnancy, this unquestionable bond, was the ultimate proof of Tim's love, his dedication, and his desire to finally build a future with her. The worst part is that they kept it a secret for months, not only from the public but also from the majority of their close friends and family. They needed time to process, adjust, and get ready for the inevitable storm that would erupt when this news finally broke. And that storm, my friends, is about to hit. Head on. No more lingering what-ifs. No more on-again, off-again drama. This was real. This was permanent. And it brought about the most important development of all. Tiffany Franco accepted Tim Malm's proposal, which was private, intimate, and full of promises of a future together. Our source was unable to share all the specifics, but she suggested that it was typical Tim, but with the same genuine sincerity that Tiffany had always. This isn't just a wedding, it's a culmination of years of longing, of trials and tribulations, and ultimately of a love story that refused to be extinguished. And now, for the first time, we can reveal the official date they have chosen to celebrate their union, to finally become husband and wife. April 15th, 2026. Mark your calendars. Set your reminders. An example of how sometimes the most enduring love stories are the ones that take the most surprising detours. What does this mean for the 90-day Fiancé universe? A total seismic shift. Picture the scenes when this news finally comes to light. The inevitable tell-alls, the spin-offs, the reactions of castmates like Veronica, who has played such a significant role in their lives. Will she be happy for them? Will there be tension? There are countless opportunities for drama, emotion, and heartfelt moments. It also raises intriguing questions about their past partners. Tim and Tiffany are back, and they're not just back, they're officially starting a family together. How will fans react? Will they be shocked, delighted, or skeptical? This news will surely spark a frenzy of discussion across social media platforms. Some will rejoice, having always rooted for this couple, while others might express surprise given their long history of support. This is the kind of story that reminds us why we fell in love with 90-day finance in the first place. The unvarnished, unpredictable, and frequently unbelievable journey of love. And it serves as a powerful reminder that love in all its messy, complicated forms often finds a way. Tim and Tiffany's journey has been anything but linear, a winding road full of pitfalls and detours, but through it all, there was an unquestionable. We've seen them grow, stumble, and learn. We've seen their weaknesses and their strengths, and now we get to witness the most amazing chapter yet. Parenthood together and finally marriage. This isn't just a secret room date, it's a testament to a love that has found its way home despite all odds. And now, with a baby on the way and a wedding date set, that thread has woven into a beautiful, undeniable tapestry. What do you think about this amazing news? Are you shocked? Excited? Did you always know there was something left between them? Let's talk about the atmosphere of that. So, there you have it, people. Tim Mal and Tiffany Franco. A secret room date that rekindled a forgotten passion leading to a shocking pregnancy and finally, a wedding date that will cement their future together. When Tiffany first entered that suite, reportedly wearing a simple yet elegant dress, our source described a palpable silence, not awkward but heavy with anticipation. Tim, always one for presentation, had reportedly ordered a selection of gourmet appetizers and sparkling cider. Knowing Tiffany's preferences, he didn't order them. Our source vividly described the mood of the evening, saying it wasn't some wild, raucous affair. The first hour was said to have been spent on tentative pleasantries, small talk about their lives, and about Daniel. But as the wine flowed, the dam broke. Tiffany, who has always been the more direct one, was the first to really put her cards on the table, reportedly beginning by listing all the times she felt ignored, unheard, or inferior to Veronica. It wasn't an accusation. Rather, it was a raw, unfiltered expression of pain that had been vested for years. As our source explained, Tim's initial reaction was guarded, as he usually is. But this wasn't a camera crew, this wasn't a tell, this was just Tiffany in a private space pouring her heart out, and something inside him reportedly shifted. He didn't interrupt. He didn't get defensive. He listened. He listened. He listened. He really listened. Then he spoke, not with excuses, but with a surprising amount of introspection. Reportedly acknowledged that he was sometimes emotionally unavailable, that he allowed his past worries to control his current behavior, that he had frequently retreated when he should have leaned in, that his closeness to Veronica, while platonic, often acted as a shield, a comfort zone he was unwilling to leave, and that he was afraid of failing and of not being enough for Tiffany, whom he always saw as this vibrant, passionate force of nature. The conversation reportedly raged back and forth for hours and was not about. It was a rediscovery of the true affection, the profound friendship that underpinned the blame. It was about understanding. It was about throwing out all the dirty laundry, all the unspoken grievances, until nothing remained but raw, exposed truth. And in that vulnerability, something beautiful reportedly began to blossom again. The laughter returned. The easy camaraderie, the way they could finish each other's sentences, the shared memories of Daniel's childhood, all came flooding back. It wasn't just physical. It was the culmination of years of longing, of finally being seen and understood by each other. For Tiffany, this pregnancy, this unexpected turn of events was reportedly a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. Our source described her initial reaction to the positive test as utter disbelief followed by a wave of panic. It was in that space of profound emotional reconnection that the physical intimacy reportedly became an almost inevitable natural extension. Despite all the heartache, public drama, and attempts to move on, she was once again inextricably linked to Tim Malcolm in the most profound way possible. However, our source says that beneath the panic, there was an increasing, unquestionable warmth. Tiffany had always dreamed of a full family and a partner who was totally committed, and although her relationship with Tim had been frustratingly erratic, this baby changed everything. This baby wasn't just a child. It was a symbol. A symbol of their unquestionable connection, a tangible symbol of that fateful night when they genuinely reconnected. It was, in a sense, the commitment she had always desired from Tim, but which fate itself provided. According to our source, Tiffany reportedly spent days in solitary reflection away from the typical social media commotion, confiding in only one very trusted friend at first, someone who had witnessed all of her highs and lows with Tim, who reportedly assisted her in processing the magnitude of it all, the fear of. Tim's initial shock soon gave way to a quiet, unwavering resolve, and he reportedly assured her with a sincerity that resonated deep within her that he was in this fully, that this was their child, and that he would be there. When she finally told Tim, a source shared that she was afraid, not of his rejection, but of his potential hesitation of the re-emergence of the old Tim, the one who struggled to fully commit himself. Our source described Tiffany feeling a deep sense of peace after that conversation. This baby, conceived in a moment of pure, honest reconnection, was reportedly the beginning of the family she had always envisioned. It wasn't a planned event, but it was an undeniable blessing, a second chance at a love story that was truly hers. Every step of the way. This wasn't just a promise. It was a revelation for Tiffany. It was the Tim she had always believed existed beneath the guarded exterior. Let's move on to Tim, the man who for years personified the struggle with commitment. Our source described his initial reaction to Tiffany's news as an overwhelming sense of disbelief, and he reportedly sat in stunned silence after her call. It was reportedly a moment where Tiffany truly understood that sometimes the universe has its own plans, far grander and more beautiful than anything she could have orchestrated herself. After that conversation, our source revealed that Tim reportedly spent a lot of time reflecting, going over all the years with Tiffany, the intense connection they shared, the bond with Daniel, and the way Carly adored him. He reportedly realized that no matter who else he dated, no one ever truly filled the void that Tiffany had left. After that, a strange feeling started to settle over him. Not panic, not dread, but a deep, profound sense of rightness. The proposal itself, according to our source, wasn't a big public spectacle. Rather, it was intimate, heartfelt, and deeply personal. Tim, in his usual meticulous manner, reportedly planned it down to the last detail. He reportedly saw this pregnancy not as an accident, but as a divine intervention, a final, unquestionable push from the universe to stop running, to embrace the love that had always been there. Our source says that Tim, who is usually so calm, was reportedly nervous, his voice cracking as he spoke, and that he carried a speech prepared, one that wasn't about lavish promises, but about honest commitment, about growth, and about finally being ready to step into the role of husband and father fully and without reservation. The location was reportedly a place that held special meaning for both of them from their earlier days. When Tiffany reportedly said yes through tears of joy, it wasn't just an acceptance of a proposal. It was an acceptance of a future that felt finally perfectly aligned. Tim reportedly saw this proposal, this commitment to Tiffany, and that unborn child as the culmination of his greatest gift, which was unexpected, and that he wanted to honor that gift by creating a complete loving family with her. It will not be a typical 90-day finance wedding designed for maximum drama. Rather, it will be a celebration of a love story that truly came full circle. Imagine the guest list. After years of personal growth, facing his own demons, and ultimately choosing love wholeheartedly, what can we expect from that wedding, April 15, 2026? Our source hinted that Tim, with his refined taste, and Tiffany, with her desire for something beautiful and memorable, are already brainstorming. Unquestionably be there, possibly even as a bridesmaid given her special relationship with both of them and her role in Daniel's life. Daniel himself will probably play a big part, maybe walking his mother down the aisle or acting as a ring bearer for his parents. Carly will also be a big part of the celebration, seeing her parents formally join forces. Our souls couldn't confirm the location, but they suggested it would be somewhere that holds special meaning for them, like a lovely outdoor setting or a sophisticated venue that represents both of their personalities. Tim will be immaculately dressed, a picture of a loving groom at last at peace, and Tiffany, ever the fashionista, will surely select a gorgeous gown, maybe one that subtly incorporates her new motherhood glow. This wedding will not only be about Tim and Tiffany, but also about the entire blended family coming together. And it will be a testament to forbearance, resiliency, and the timeless ability of love to triumph over seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Insurmountable obstacles. More update. After a rumored sighting of 90 Day Fiancé stars Tiffany Franco and Tim Malcolm cuddling up at a club, rumors about the couple have taken a dramatic turn. Did Tiffany and Tim end up together? The rumors were heightened when Tim was reported to have finally taken the risk of asking a woman out on a date, which raised questions about who his first romantic interest might be. Fans are both shocked and intrigued by Tim's confirmation that their relationship has only gotten stronger. Rumor has it that Tiffany may have staged a romance for television, which has further fueled speculation. To make things more complicated, Ronald, Tiffany's ex, has allegedly dropped a major bombshell, adding even more drama to the already complicated plot. Let me explain. 90 Day Finance. Tiffany and Tim are seen cuddling in a club. Did they end up together? Now that the new Hunt for Love spin-off is at the center, viewers are seeing members of the group in a more remote retreat-like setting for the first time. They set the tone for the most extreme season to date in the pilot, and while the ensemble is meeting a lot of new people and forming relationships, some of them are struggling. Tiffany Franco and Tim Malcolm are part of this group, and they quickly became friends and developed a close bond early on in the show. However, the trajectory of the show suggests that from 90 Days with Tiffany, the couple was spotted cuddling up in a bar. Do you think they're dating now? Am I missing something? The fiancé hasn't found love very often. Many men lose interest after learning that she has 2 children and wants someone childless. Many of them admit that's been a big obstacle for her when it comes to dating. Their attempts to establish relationships are failing miserably. Is it possible that this is a precursor to them beginning to pursue each other? When it comes to forming friendships, Tim Malcolm, her close friend, is experiencing a similar situation. However, different factors are at play here. Tim's ex-girlfriend Jennifer Tarzona made up stories about him having an affair with a stripper, which made it difficult for him to build relationships with new people. He has often expressed his displeasure at having to defend his ex for the past 7 years. Despite everything that has happened around them, Tim and Tiffany were still able to find comfort in each other's company. Perhaps they have decided to turn their friendship into a romantic relationship. Tim and Tiffany, the stars of the upcoming 90 Day Fiancé Hunt for Love, were spotted at a fun club not long ago. Fans noticed that they were laughing together late into the night, and word quickly spread that they might be beginning a new romance. Tim posted the video on his Instagram account, and many have interpreted it as evidence that the two are romantically involved. The chemistry between Tim and Tiffany has always been charming and electric on television, but some people believed the sighting of the club proved they had finally moved on. As mentioned above, Tim and Tiffany have struggled to find love on the show. Tim is still dealing with rumblings from ex Jennifer Tarzona, and the latter has had a series of unsuccessful hookups. Some controversy ensued on the internet when she previously implied he might be gay. Tim Malcolm finally asks a girl out who is his first date. It appears that Tim Malcolm has finally taken a significant step to find his soulmate on the show. He recently asked a female out, and his new flame has fans. However, the truth is that they are just very close friends, so their relationship is completely platonic and they are quite supportive of one another. The cozy moment was filled with friendly rather than passionate feelings. They were joined by Elise, another cast member from the program. At the resort, Tim's ex-girlfriend Jen made up stories about him that caused him a lot of mental distress because she claimed that he did not identify as straight. Tim needed time to recover from the stress, so he gave a few of his female performers a try. It seems that the 90 Day Fiancé star has thrown caution to the wind and tried his luck with an unexpected superstar. Rumors started circulating that the reality TV star was dating Tiffany Franco. The 90 Day Fiancé cast has long included Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Tarzona. He was featured in the former for several seasons and spin-offs, traveling with Veronica and Jennifer. The TLC star was unattached for a long time. They became close friends on Hunt for Love, and Tim and Tiffany were there for each other through thick and thin. So, I was surprised when Tim revealed his new romantic interest during the show. Surely she is Tiffany. What is her name? Dealing with the suspicions. She blasted Jen to protect her friend and stopped the rumors. Fans truly wanted the couple to get together because of their genuine and kind nature. When Tim and Tiffany shared an Instagram video from a nightclub, dating rumors started, and some of their fans started to wonder if they had split up. However, since Elise was also present, it was more of a friendly reunion than anything else. His character gained him a lot of admirers on Hunt for Love. He made multiple advances on women during the show. It's a little surprising that the reality TV star didn't ask anyone out on a date, but Tim recently made the bold decision to do so after seeing Mi's wild side with Joe. He brought her up in a confessional, and while working with Joe, he saw her jumping up and down enthusiastically. He wondered if she was a freak, but her wild side impressed the 90-day. Tim said, "Someone should ask me out on a date," adding, "To be honest, I'm not sure I could handle her untamed side." After he worked up the nerve, he decided to knock on her hotel room door and see what happened. The reality TV personality told her they had many interests, and even though I had already rejected Malcolm, she accepted the offer because she liked his bravery. He has that kind of eccentric feel, which she finds appealing. Truly likes in a man. Hey, why don't we give it a try? I reasoned that since he hadn't asked a woman out in 10 years, the whole thing was overwhelming him. His fans were appreciative that he did as he was told and tried it out, and they were impressed by May's confident manner. Many viewers were waiting for a romantic scene with the two and their electric chemistry. If you're interested in learning more about Tim and Mi's romance, Tiffany and Tim confirmed there. Tim Malcolm and Tiffany Franco are well known to fans of 90 Day Fiancé. The second one had a long-lasting, troubled romance with Ronald that ended in divorce and sadness. In addition to Tim's relationship with Jennifer failing, their history was complicated. Despite his relationship with Louisa being made public on the single life, it was a disaster, and the two eventually broke up. The two celebrities, Tiffany and Tim, entered Hunt for Love in the hopes of starting over. These days, everyone seems to be wondering if they are secretly dating. Is it true that they are dating? The two celebrities, Tiffany and Tim, entered the Hunt for Love with the hope of a fresh start. They have both had bad love luck, but they never gave up, which is why fans eagerly awaited their inclusion on the spin-off. However, is it possible that this relationship is actually the blossoming of a romance? As we mentioned above, there are rumors that Tim and Tiffany are dating, and more relationship rumors have been circulating about them recently, thanks to a Reddit member. One fan post expressed their secret wish that Tim and Tiffany were dating, speaking highly of the actors and promising to be together. However, is it possible that this relationship is actually the blossoming of a romance? Everyone seems to be wondering if they are secretly dating. Is it true that they are dating? The charming post attracted a lot of attention, and many admirers voted that Tim would make a good father to Tiffany and her kids. However, some people felt that it was too sentimental, and that it was more like a friendship. According to another Reddit user, Tim and Tiffany would spend every night in that room, but only with face masks, video games, and television, so it was unromantic because Tim is primarily a friend and not a romantic interest. Clearly, their relationship is sincere, but it isn't romantic. It seems like many people believe that they are just pearls and nothing more, so even though their fans are hoping that they will ship, it will never happen. Tiffany and Tim have both said that they are just friends and aren't involved in any romantic drama. If they didn't end up together, who would they end up with? Tiffany Franco fakes romance for TV. Ronald DS bombshell. Tiffany Franco, star of 90 Day Fiancé, may have been. After Tiffany left for South Africa, Ronald Smith, who had already married her, had a long interview with Kiki and Kippets posted to YouTube on August 10th. He brought up the subject of Carly Rose's custody, claiming that he has been unfairly denied the opportunity to speak with her. This week, her ex-husband Ronald Smith gave an extensive interview in which he revealed some personal details about his daughter's mother, which sparked the speculation. Read on to find out the details. Visit his daughter. Daniel, Tiffany's son, was surprisingly absent from his conversation. You may remember that when they were younger, Daniel looked up to Ronald and called him Daggy. However, he went on to discuss Tiffany and the men she had dated. It seems that TLC viewers can ignore the idea that she is romantically involved with Tim Malcolm. No, Tiffany is not seeing Ronald, says Ronald. Rumor has it that she has been seeing another man for a long time. Many were skeptical that. According to Ronald, he denied that to Kibbutz and Kiki, but he accused Tiffany Franco of being involved with the new show for financial gain. Tiffany Franco would be a good fit for the new spin-off. Remember, she sought a connection with a paternal figure, so it seems unlikely that she would find the ideal partner on the romance-themed spin-off. However, she and Tim seemed to get along famously, and speculation about their relationship blossomed. Committed relationship. Was her pretending to be single an attempt to make fun of TLC viewers? After all, that's her baby, right? No more today. What are your thoughts on this rumor? Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. And please subscribe to our channel for more updates like this one. Thank you.